Hello everybody, this is Daryl Whitman with Destination WVF TV. Thank you for watching. Me and my wife recently took a 7-day inter-island Hawaiian cruise on the Norwegian Pride of America. The cruise embarked from Honolulu, Hawaii and marked our second visit to Hawaii. However, this was our very first Hawaiian cruise. In 2014, we flew over and stayed on Waikiki Beach on the island of Oahu at Hilton Hawaiian Village. That was also a 7-day trip. We always vowed that we would one day return, and that day finally came. This video will chronicle our cruise from start to finish, so let's get started. We flew out of Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, commonly referred to as DFW International Airport, on American Airlines. We had a 12:30 p.m. flight, and we were supposed to arrive in Honolulu at about 3:30 their time. It was supposed to be about an 8-hour flight, but we got there in about 6 hours and 45 minutes. That was very much appreciated. The flight over was made more bearable because we booked premium economy seating, which means the seats were wider with more legroom. It also included priority boarding, and we had a small screen for watching movies and shows and things. It certainly helped the time to pass. On the flight to Hawaii, we had seating where there were only 2 seats per row on the side of the plane that we were sitting on. We really liked that feature. So the flight over was comfortable and smooth, not much turbulence at all. Once we landed, we found out that a couple of pieces of our luggage had gotten there before we did. That was a first. So I went to get those while my wife waited for our last piece at the assigned carousel. Afterwards, we made our way to the designated pickup area for our transportation to the hotel. We prearranged our transportation through Viator. The hotel of choice was the Hilton Garden Inn Waikiki Beach. It was a nice hotel, and it certainly fit the bill for the 2 nights we were going to be staying prior to the cruise. Here are some images from in and around the hotel. I want to point out that this was a group cruise, so the hotel was pre-selected for the group. Once we checked into the hotel and checked out our room, we headed to the restaurant on site to get something to eat. The restaurant was okay. It just so happens that our waiter that day was a Philadelphia Eagle fan, and we had a very lively conversation about the Cowboys and Eagles, as you might imagine. But he still got a good tip. The restaurant was a little bit pricey, but I guess that's to be expected in Hawaii. My only real complaint with the restaurant had to do with our second visit. Before we were seated, the hostess asked us how we were going to pay. Okay, what does that have to do with you seating us? We didn't appreciate that at all. We ended up walking out before we even ordered breakfast and never went back. Instead, we set out on a quest to find a Denny's in the area, as was indicated by Google Maps. I think we walked that whole island that morning. Not really, but it kind of felt like it. But we eventually got there. On the way back to the hotel, we discovered an IHOP right down the street from the hotel, and that's where we ate breakfast the next day. Saturday was embarkation day. Our check-in time for the ship was 11:30 a.m. We usually select a time around 11 or 11:30. The reason we do that is because checkout time at most hotels is by 11 a.m. and we prefer not to be dragging luggage around waiting to board the ship. We check out, head to the pier, drop off our luggage with the porters, check in, and we're on our way. That's what works best for us. Again, we use Viator to schedule our transportation from the hotel to the cruise terminal. The embarkation process with Norwegian in Honolulu was a breeze. The cruise terminal was big and roomy. It also included a guy playing a guitar and singing smooth sounds from the island. And the embarkation was organized and efficient. We got our room keys at check-in, which I actually prefer over sticking them on the door of your room. The staff was nice and welcoming, and we were on the ship in very short order after our group was called. Our cabin was not ready, which is usually the case. Our experience is that the cabins are usually not ready until about 1 or 1:30. In the interim, we headed up to the Aloha Cafe, the buffet on the ship, for some lunch since we hadn't eaten yet. After lunch, we went ahead and located our muster station for our security briefing and checked in there. We try and get this done as soon as possible, and we encourage everybody to do the same. The ship cannot sail until everyone has completed this task. We then explored the ship a little bit and just chilled until our cabins were ready. Once the announcement was made that our cabins were ready, we headed up to check ours out. Here are some images of our cabins. Here are our impressions of the cabin. We had a balcony cabin, category BB, cabin number 9088. The cabin was a bit small, but that was to be expected since the Pride of America is an older ship. The ship was originally built in 2005 and refurbished in 2022. There was just enough hanging space in the closet for me and my wife, but the drawer space was lacking. There was more open shelving space than anything, which I am not a fan of. There was a small side table on the left side of the bed. There was a small love seat on the right side of the bed. I'm not sure if it was a sleeper sofa or not. The bed was a, quote, queen, and it was comfortable. No complaints there. The cabin included what I call a tiny house TV, mini fridge, and 2 drawers. There was a small dressing area with a mirror and 2 shelves. There was a multifunctional stool that could be used as a seat, storage, or tray table if necessary. There was a safe to store your valuable items and more overhead storage that we use to store our snacks. The bathroom was pretty standard for a ship of this size. The balcony was a little tight but manageable with 2 chairs with footrest and a small table. Overall, the cabin was nice and pretty much what we expected. Our room steward was great. He was friendly, efficient, and professional, and he did his job well in sickness and in health. We left him a really nice tip too at the conclusion of the cruise. The ship departed Honolulu at about 7 p.m. and headed for our first island, Hilo, Hawaii. The rest of the evening we just chilled, ate dinner, connected with some people in our group, and just relaxed. Hilo was an overnight stay. We actually arrived at approximately 8 a.m. Sunday and didn't depart until 5 p.m. Monday. We had a couple of these overnights on the cruise. Remember, the Lahaina wildfires had recently happened on Maui, so that island visit was canceled by Norwegian and replaced with a couple of overnight stays instead. What was ironic about this was that the locals didn't understand why we weren't sailing to Maui. They said only one side of the island was impacted and that the island depends on tourism to survive. But the irony in the whole thing for us was that as soon as we got back home, we got a notification that Norwegian would begin sailing to Maui that week. Go figure. Anyway, our visit to Hilo was nice. We didn't book any excursions. We just explored on our own with another couple from the group. We found a nice farmer's market there along with shopping. We stopped and ate at the farmer's market kitchen. I had an island favorite, shaved ice. I'd never seen shaved ice so big. I expected more of a snow cone look, if you know what I mean. Nope. It was served in a bowl and looked more like a meal. I ate every bit. After we ate, we walked the island some more, did some more shopping, and headed back to the ship. Our second day in Hilo was spent on the ship. We didn't venture out. We did see a show on the ship while we were docked in Hilo called Aloha Polynesia. It was a really nice show that told the story of Polynesian culture. Here's a short clip from the show. I loved all the shaking going on. Oh yeah. Well, that was our experience in Hilo. The next island on our itinerary was Kona. It was basically a full day there. We arrived at about 8 a.m. and were scheduled to depart at around 5:30 p.m. Again, we didn't schedule any excursions, but rather explored on our own. The ship did not dock in Kona. We had to be tendered to the island. Once on the island, we discovered a strip with plenty of shops and restaurants, as well as beautiful views from the shore. In fact, you could even see our ship from the shore. The weather was nice and it made for a really nice experience on the island. Once we completed our activities on the island, we boarded the tender and returned to the ship. Our next experience on this cruise was cruising the Napoli coast, where we would see one of the most awesome sights we've ever seen. This was primarily a day at sea with views. If you remember any of the Jurassic Park or Indiana Jones movies, you may have seen this massive mountain. It was a massive, awesome sight. All you really could say about it was wow. After checking out this amazing sight, we headed for our last island, Kauai. This was another overnight stay. We docked about 3 p.m. on Wednesday to about 5:30 p.m. on Thursday. For some reason, and I can't explain it, it seemed a lot longer than just overnight to me. Regardless, we went out and explored on our own both days. We took a shuttle from the ship on the first day, and not far from where we docked, we discovered a shopping area. It featured those uniquely Hawaiian stores, Target and Costco, along with several smaller shops. We spent about an hour or two perusing the shops and reboarded the shuttle and headed back to the ship. The second day, since we weren't leaving Kauai until about 5:30 p.m., we ventured out again, but this time in the opposite direction. It was much more scenic than the day before. Our shuttle drivers told us about a koi pond, that was one of the largest anywhere, so we made sure to stop by and see it. There was also a beach nearby, and we hung out for a little while there. And last but not least, there was more shopping, and we definitely weren't going to pass that up. All in all, it was a really nice and relaxing experience. Before we end, I would like to talk for a moment about the food and entertainment on the ship. The great thing about cruising is that you can eat as much as you want, practically whenever you want, and the majority of food choices on the ship are complimentary, totally free, and who doesn't love free? The Aloha Cafe, the buffet, was pretty good. We ate there every morning for breakfast. My standard fare was an omelet, and the ship had several omelet stations. There was also a wide range of other selections to satisfy your palate. Whatever you wanted, they pretty much had it. The lunch and dinner selections were varied. The ship had themes in the buffet each day. There were plenty of sweets to go around, even though I did my best to refrain from eating any. I know I succumbed at some point, but not overly so. We never had any issues with finding seating in the buffet. We did eat at a couple of the specialty restaurants on the ship. The first being Cagney's Steakhouse and the second Moderno, the Brazilian steakhouse on the ship. Both were excellent. My steak at Cagney's was outstanding, and it was cooked exactly like I requested. I ate every bit of it, which I usually have a hard time doing depending on the size of the steak. I believe I had a 12-ounce New York strip steak that night. I loved Moderno. I love the constant flow of meat you're offered. They keep it coming until you can't take it anymore. We didn't eat in the main dining rooms during the cruise. For a quick bite, we ate in the Cadillac Diner a couple of times. It's the ship's 24-hour diner. It was cool in that the decor was Elvis themed, including a red Cadillac as part of the seating area. As far as entertainment goes, I already talked about the show we saw, Aloha Polynesia, but we were also entertained by a gentleman named W.T. Greer. This man had a voice that was unreal. You just had to hear it to believe it. In fact, I'm going to give you a little taste of it right now. Here goes.
Other dancers may be on the floor, yeah, but my eyes will see only you. Only you have that magic technique. When we sway, we can hear the sound of violence so very long before it begins. Making that rhythm only you know how. Sweet and smooth, sweet enough. Other dancers may be on the floor, yeah, but my eyes will see only you. Only you have that magic technique. When we sway, I can hear the sound of violence so very long before it begins. Making that rhythms only you know how. Sway me smooth, sway me now. Like a flower bending in the breeze, come on darling and with me, sway with peace. When I do, I go away with me, stay with me, sway with me. When marimba starts to play, hold me close, make me sway. Like the ocean hugs the shore, come down and hold me close, sway me more. Like a flower living in the breeze, burn with me, sway with peace. When I do, I go away with me, stay with me, sway with me.
To show what a small world this is, he was actually from my area in Texas and was friends with a couple that we go to church with. That was unbelievable when we found out. We saw him perform a couple of nights and thoroughly enjoyed both performances. The great part about it was that all the entertainment was free and didn't require a reservation. Another bonus on a cruise. Of course, there were tons of other things on the ship to keep you entertained no matter the age. Trivia, karaoke, cornhole, splash academy for the kids, entourage for the teens, meetups for solo travelers, bar tasting, water volleyball, and a lot more. There was no reason for you to ever be bored. Well, I guess that's it for this trip. I invite you to subscribe with us for more great content. We have much more in store for you. Coming in 2024, we sail on two of the newest ships at sea, the Carnival Jubilee and Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas. We can't wait to share these experiences with you. Thank you for watching, and goodbye for now. This is Daryl Whitman. Thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode of Destination WVF TV.